because I'm about to hit you with these retweets. Boom. I'm not even in the right space. Oh, I like when people move with the quickness. That does something to my spirit. And I got one more place. Yes, I know what I'm doing. Let the people come in hither. Because I ain't been on this bitch in a minute. Just give me 2 seconds. Maybe 5. Because I'm finna share this shit. You dead ass. What's up, every fucking body? I know y'all see me doing this shit, but here we go. What's up, and welcome to Sweet the Podcast, episode 34. As you see, and as I'm introducing this shit, I'm finna play the intro. The flavor profile of this team. Sweet. What's up? What's up? And what's up? That is copywritten by Martin, all that Martin show shit. So please do not copyright strike me for that little saying. But welcome everybody. This show is dedicated to David Chubby Boykins, a cousin of mine who we just lost yesterday. So I'm dedicating this show to him. I love you, David. Boom. Mwah, 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 mwah. This is all to you, but we are joined by a very special guest. I'm not even going to prolong this intro and all this talking because people got things to do and it's late on a Friday night. But this person is talented as fuck. Like, is done amazing things in music and built shit that only some of us creators strive to and aspire to do. So without further ado, we shall introduce none other than the one and only Jamir Reece Davis, also known as Amorphous.
What's up? What's up? What's up? How y'all doing tonight?
Boom. You know, I'm going to give you all that introduction.
Oh, thank you.
So, first off, I want to say thank you for doing this. Thank you. Of course. We were supposed to do this a few times, but you know, things happen. Coronavirus.
Life happens, for sure.
Shit goes on. So, I just want to jump right into this. Your government name, because this is what you go by in your directorial thing.
Yes.
Jamir Reece Davis. But tell us, who is Amorphous? We know that is an alter ego, a persona, a pseudo name. Where did you come up with that, and when did you start making music? Just give us a little brief of the young.
A brief. Okay, I'll give you a little brief of young and me. Okay, so Amorphous came about around like 2013. I was looking for a word that encompassed my versatility in terms of what I want to do creatively, whether that was music, film, art. I like to draw and do all that stuff. And I wanted something that just pretty much just showcased that whatever I do, it doesn't really have a specific genre. I don't want to be tied down to one specific look, idea, or sound.
Right.
I just went to like dictionary.com or something and searched that up, and it was like Amorphous. I said, oh, that's kind of cute. Let me get that and see how that sticks, and just kind of ran along with it. But I started really taking producing seriously in 2014. Beginning of 2014, my dad, on my birthday, he brought me Ableton, which is a production program, and I just like went haywire with it and just pretty much taught myself. So that's when things kind of started for me.
Okay, now Ableton, I've tried to use Ableton. I've used Logic. I've used Pro Tools. Okay, but Ableton was hard as fuck for me. But yeah, I could not really get the zhuzh of Ableton. That shit was difficult as fuck. So if that's your DAW of choice,
Listen,
damn it.
okay. When I first started, I mean, then again, I was like, what, 15 when I started producing, I guess. I was trash. Like, I'm gonna just be completely honest. But everybody has to start somewhere, you know.
Yeah,
So I
for
just
real.
kind of kept going, and guess I am where I am today. So
And you did all that. What was like? Do you still use Ableton now today?
yeah, I
Oh,
don't
that's
think I'll ever switch to another program. It's just like learning everything myself. It was really like trial and error, just figuring out, oh, what is this button? What is this gonna do? But it's easy for me. Like I know it inside and out. So like most of my mashups that I do it in Ableton because mashups in and of themselves are not that difficult to create. But since I know the program in and out, I can kind of go a little bit wild with that and be really creative in those as well. So I don't think I'll ever switch.
now. Kudos to Ableton. Shout out to them because it's
Yes.
a great AW, but I just feel like mentally challenged. And when I'm in that shit,
Right.
I know people that use it and they do amazing work like you, but it's just not for me.
It's not for you. There's like pretty much all the dolls are pretty much the same in a way. It's just you figure out which one is tailored to you and which one speaks to you.
And you've done a lot. Did you start with mashups or making your own beats?
I started making my own beats. Like ever since I was a kid, I used to beatbox around the house, like just doing my little thing.
Wait, give me one more. Do one more time.
Oh. Yeah, whatever. So it's like a cute little something. But that's what I used to do when I was like really, really young. I used to have like my hat on backwards, like I was Jay-Z, going around the house rapping and beatboxing. So production in and of itself was always what spoke to me most about music. Before I thought I could sing, but that's a whole nother conversation because I can't say that right now. I can't hold a note. But production, I realized that I was really, really good at it. And the mashups just kind of came about because one, I feel like I have somewhat of an ear for it, but also because I tweak this a lot. I'm usually bored. When I'm bored, I create. And I figured out that, mashups are pretty easy to create. And it's something that I feel like I do have an ear for. So that's how the mashups came about. But I did start producing first, yeah.
Yeah, and I felt you started producing first because your own sound. You do mashups just because you like other production and you feel like, let me see if I can tweak this and make it a little better. This would sound better on this beat. Let me fuck with that.
Right.
Producing and mashups, I could dig real deep into that. But let me jump into the mashup shit.
Okay.
Now, BEY-Z, since you mentioned Jay-Z, was a huge thing. Like,
yes.
I knew you before that release, but when that release, I've seen people tweet you that were celebrities. I've seen people, the news, CNN post BEY-Z. I'm like, what the fuck? How the
right?
Because it was dope, but it just got so much traction, and even your mashups online have like almost 1 million views. Like, that's amazing. Now, did you? I know you. I don't care. I know you didn't know BEY-Z was gonna do what it did.
I really didn't. Like I said,
how did you feel? Like, what?
It was interesting because when I made BEY-Z, I had done like a couple of like Beyonce Jay-Z mashups that week. Like again, out of boredom, I was bored, so I was like, oh, let me just throw these together and see how they sound. I felt like it was cool, and then it became an actual like concept album because I had made so many, and I was like, you know what, that'll be cool to like kind of like make it into an album. I put together like a small little trailer for it, put it on Twitter and went to sleep. Wake up the next day and it's just completely everywhere. My dad at school too, so I'm like trying to focus on what I'm doing, also trying to figure out who's tweeting me and who's seeing it. I'm like, oh my god, is Beyonce actually going to see it or something?
Right.
But it was. I really didn't expect it because that wasn't really the purpose. Like I didn't put it out for it to blow up.
Yeah.
I just put it out just because why not? But yeah, that was absolutely ridiculous. That really did put me on the map in a lot of ways, and I was very grateful for the response because, as I said, it was just something I did just for myself, for fun, and to see people gravitate towards it so quickly, it was amazing.
Now it's been. I'm sure we've confirmed right now that Beyonce did hear and see, because didn't she use like some arrangement that you made during
from my knowledge. Okay, so on the set list, she had an original set list for the On the Run 2 tour. I believe B Legion, the account, had posted it like last year. And the mashup that I did on the album called it was Can I Get a in Partition. It was on the set list. And prior to that, like she was like rehearsing in some city, and they were rehearsing that mashup. It didn't make the actual like full set list. She took a couple stuff off. But in my mind, since that happened, I'm like, well, somebody put it to her. I was like, she heard it. So
we know her secret Twitter is somewhere out there. We don't know what it is. B Legion, is that you?
Right, because they be with the T and everything.
They know all the shit of what's going on with Beyonce.
So in my mind, she heard it, saw it in some way. So that was just incredible.
She knows all what's going on.
She does. She's so incredible that she puts like the way she puts on smaller creatives, creatives that you might have never even heard about. Her game of peeping who's like really talented, who's really about that life.
Yeah.
Like outside of clout or whatever.
She don't give a fuck about clout or who is giving real great artistry and musicality and all
absolutely that. I mean, even look at Black is King. I've seen so many people that are involved in that project tweeting out about how she just randomly called them, or her team randomly called them, and now look where they are. I mean,
and that show you her and her team be watching.
Right.
They watching for the next hot, fresh shit.
For sure. Legend.
Beyonce would be my bitch to do anything if I was Michael Jackson was my number one obsession. He was the king of kings besides Jesus.
Right.
So he was my number one. Beyonce came, she's up there in that lane, but Aaliyah was a major thing in my life growing up. Like I knew she was gonna be that bitch too. Not take away from anyone else.
No, not at all.
Everybody's still gonna be who they were.
Absolutely.
But Aaliyah was supposed to be a bitch that was about some shit. Now, your level of love for Aaliyah transcends.
So funny.
Now, before we get into your level of love of Aaliyah and how that became, because I definitely need to know. This is one of my main things that I needed to know.
Okay.
But I'm gonna play your trailer, for your documentary that you made, and you've done so many trailers and pre-ops for trailers and shit that are like, bitch, why they don't use this version? So I'm gonna play this documentary trailer. Bye-bye.
Stories tonight. Singer, actress Aaliyah
is returned to Florida from the Bahamas last night on a private plane. Apparently, one of the engines
drugs have played a role in the crash that killed Aaliyah.
His friends can't believe the 23-year-old singer.
Although engine failure and overloading of
from the end of the runway here, the front nose cone of the plane is smashed.
You never know what tomorrow holds, and stuff just kind of comes up out of nowhere sometimes, right?
Pops up and there you are. I have to honestly say that everything is worth it. The good moments when you are on stage performing in front of thousands of people. I've got a family and I've got a career that's blossoming and still growing. And I am truly blessed. And I thank God for his blessings every single chance I get.
It was like, wasn't I just waving at these people and hugging them and kissing them? And telling them I love them?
She was just nervous about getting on this little plane. And I was like, you know what? Don't trip.
My first reaction was pretty much to just scream. I couldn't put my psyche around anything like that happening. It just didn't make any sense.
I feel so blessed because everything that I've always wanted is happening to me. And I just feel like I have so many places to go and so many things to enjoy. I'm just very happy, very blessed.
Got my closure that I wanted to finally be here. It's a surreal feeling.
This is what I've wanted since I was a little girl and living a dream.
People across the country are mourning the death of Aaliyah.
Plane is smashed in. Fuselage appears to be broken in half.
No matter what Aaliyah did, she was never going to leave any of us. She never wanted to leave any of us.
Aaliyah, thank you for being a beautiful person.
It's hard to say what I want my legacy to be, what I want people to say when I'm long gone. But that really makes me happy, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world.
I'm seen. I am
Yep.
seen.
Yes.
That's technical difficulty live.
No, you here. We hear you good.
I'm glad I've seen. Thank you. And that is the trailer. Did you see it moving? Because on my end, shit.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it worked.
Okay, great. Thank God for Jesus.
Yes, for sure.
Now back to how did your first love for Aaliyah came? Please tell me something. Where did it derive? Where did you first hear her? Back and forth. What was it?
Well, first of all, I was too young for back and forth. I wasn't even born. But
what? Wait a minute. How old are you?
I'm 22.
I know that.
Yeah.
I thought you was 21, younger than that. But damn, Back and Forth came out that long ago?
Yes. Okay. Back and Forth came out in 1994. Okay. I was not even conceived of yet. That had nothing to do with me. I wasn't there yet. But to answer your question, my love for Aaliyah first came when I was 4 years old for my older brother. So my older brother is pretty much the person that put me onto music, period. Anybody that he listened to in the 90s, Aaliyah, Destiny's Child, Brandy, Monica, Usher, just Left Eye, whoever, he definitely just put me onto like a really lot of dope music at a really young age. And my first Aaliyah memory was actually the day her last album came out. My dad had his office was like in a skyrise building, and they had FYE at the bottom floor. My brother ran down and got 2 copies of the Aaliyah album, one for me and one for him. And I remember listening to Loose Rap. That was like the first song that I really remember gravitating towards because it sounded like a video game to like a 4-year-old. Okay, like I was gonna love that track. And but yeah, that was like my first real Aaliyah memory. And then from there, it just kind of grew.
It grew. I cannot believe when the Aaliyah album came out and you were that young, but I can because I'm 32. So I remember when she passed and all that, and on 106 in Park, and they played the Rock the Boat video world premiere. And when I went to middle school, that I was in like 6th or 7th grade, I think. And we had a whole little holding hands visual moment of silence right where the buses come in park. So we all was standing there holding hands, bereaved that Aaliyah, she was at that point, she was that bitch. She was that girl. Like Queen of the Damned haven't even come out yet. So we was waiting on that. So she was that bitch. Destiny's Child, all of them were out. So, but Aaliyah still was that girl. Romeo Must Die had just dropped. So I get where you're coming from because that's like a Michael Jackson thing for me.
Yeah. I don't even know exactly. Like I said, it started when I was really young. A lot of people, because I am so young, they're like, oh, you must have gotten into her when like Drake put Enough Said out. And I'm like, no. I said, since 2001, don't get it twisted, okay? I was a little kid, but I sure remember listening to that album on my Walkman. Don't play. But I think that was like the beauty of, I do wish in some ways sometimes that I was older back then, just to be able to, not just to be able to appreciate what she had to offer while she was still alive, but just that time of music in general. As you said, there were so many different kinds of artists out there. Were all successful. Alicia Keys, Beyonce was coming out. Destiny's Child, Ashanti was doing her thing. You had everybody just kind of, even though they kind of occupied the same genre space, they were all in their own lanes.
They were.
I mean, of course, back then you always had people that were trying to put them together, but even then it was just still beautiful to see, I'm sure. Like I said, my memories are a little bit fuzzy back then, but that was like my first Aaliyah memory. And then, of course, she passed away only like 5 weeks after that album came out. So I didn't really get to experience her while she was here. But my brother showed me to kind of like, dial in all of her influence and everything. So that's how I came about to her.
Yes, and I'm glad your brother was that guiding force and guiding hand and music to share her artistry before that last album. Because, baby, let me tell you, Aaliyah was that. She was that cool as bitch. That she was that girl. She was that cool ass girl. Like we was excited to see about her. So I love the work you do from music, documentary, and all this. You're not just a producer. You're not just a filmmaker. Honestly, you are that. But as a whole creative, what other things do you feel like you want to do? What kind of other things do you want to dabble in? You mentioned singing. Do you have anything that you recorded? You probably do some background or backing vocals on, or just want to get into that?
Okay, when I say I can't sing, I'm being dramatic, but I genuinely can't sing. Like I can hold a note, but I'm never, ever, ever gonna put a song out of me trying to sing on anything. This is not. I've done it. It's just not my forte, and that's okay. I am great at a lot of things, and I'm very aware of that, and I'm just not great at that. I'm gonna let somebody else occupy that space, and they can have that. Now I can't be quadruple threat at everything, because then where's the other people gonna be? No shade, but no, in all seriousness, there's so many things that I want to do. Like even in terms of filmmaking, one thing that I am genuinely looking forward to doing is directing my first narrative film. So pretty much everything I've done so far is documentaries because one, budget, who has the time, and two, it's just they were the easiest things for me to do while I was still in film school. I went to a film school where the program you finish it in 20 months, so it was really rigorous to get your bachelor's degree. And we had, tests every night, always had to bring something in at 11:59. So I'm okay, I can't really dedicate all my time to doing a narrative project, but something I can do just on my laptop, record my own voice and edit like crazy, because that's what I love to do, I could do. And so that's how, the Aaliyah and Rihanna documentaries come about. But I also love art, I love drawing. I'm about to actually get an iPad Pro to kind of get back into that realm. So I might start selling my prints and stuff some more. I used to do that back in the day. So there's just something I can't really say what else I want to do. I
get it. You can't box a creative in like that. Yeah, and the two things I want to say is I went to school for in a rigorous program like that. They just give you what you need to know, and for sound engineering and recording arts. I did not graduate from that shit because it was too much goddamn money they was experimenting from. But I got enough knowledge to know what I need to know from that.
Right.
And do you feel like editing, because the shit you do, mashups and documentary, especially film, do you feel like editing is therapeutic in some sort of way for you?
It is. It really is. It's an art form when you, as an editor, in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to film. Music videos and all those different forms are a little bit different, but especially when it comes to film, I feel like editors are super underrated because we are the ones that really do the final cut of the film.
I agree with that.
Right. Agree. And you go and shoot the film, but there's not going to be a film unless you put it together. So, of course, a lot of times you work with director and stuff, and I think that is one thing that I'm really looking forward to as someone that aspires to be a director in that same realm. Is I know how to edit. Not that I would just be the only editor on board. I feel like it's important to get different lenses and different inputs, but to have that knowledge, at least to keep my original vision intact to the final edit bay. Yeah.
And that's the thing and that's another thing, sharing your vision and your creativity with a team, and hopefully they can translate it on to what you're doing it all yourself.
Yes.
And that's a lot of work, but at the end it's going to be what you want it to be.
Right.
When you get other people involved, now you're like, okay, let me make sure I let them know exactly.
But sometimes you can't. I've also learned that too, because like I said, I do a lot of stuff on my own. With that Aaliyah and Rihanna documentaries, especially with the Aaliyah one, I flew to New York to go get footage while I was on spring break. I did all that stuff, and only other person that helped me was my brother when he filmed me while I was there. But editing, narrating, writing the documentary, getting all the research to make sure every single one of my facts are correct, which wasn't that hard because I am a diehard fan. But all of that was just it was a lot, but it was also very rewarding in a sense, because again, I did that documentary for nobody else but myself.
Right.
I did that because even though I am extremely young, I am only 22, Aaliyah's death did affect me in a lot of ways. And I wanted to have something where it was like, instead of just looking at, all the, as there is a section of that documentary that does cover her death, and that is sad. But I wanted it to be more than that. I wanted it to really be about who she was, her career. I didn't really want to get into, the man that shall not be named, because her legacy and everything is so much more than that. Yeah. And so I did that for me. Like, when I put that trailer out, I did not expect it to blow up. I do realize that I make stuff look like real professional. So like people, they thought it was coming out in the theaters and everything. I'm like, oh no, girl, this is going on my YouTube channel. Like, it is nothing. But that was really cool that it took a life of its own. Of course, there was a couple of issues legally with that because it got so big. Yeah. But I was just touched that so many people gravitated towards that. People that knew her in the industry reached out to me. People, family of the victims that also passed away reached out to me, thanking me for taking the time out to make that and to acknowledge them. So for me, as like I think I did that when I was like 19. I mean, that was huge.
As you amaze me, the shit you've done, and I'm really impressed. And I age to me. See, I was in the military and high ranking, and it's all about what your knowledge, your rank, or whatever. So you are really an inspiration, and that leads me into this next segment, and is what's next? What do you? No, it's not. Fuck that. We going back. Secrets to success, and I feel contradictory about that. But what do you feel like? Any advice you can give to any up and coming producers, wannabe directors, editors, or filmmakers? Anything.
I feel like, especially as a Black gay creative, our journeys are a bit different than normal. So what I would say for us especially is don't be, and this is so cliche, but really don't be afraid to really believe in yourself, and don't be afraid to say no. Like, I've been rejected a lot. Even when I went out to LA, I was told I was overqualified 5 different times, which confused me because I was like, okay, but what can you do? Exactly. And I've also been in instances where I knew that I was going to be underpaid. Now, I'm an extremely humble person. I like to think. I don't want to toot my own horn on that sense. But if I'm doing something for you out of the kindness of my heart, I have no problem doing that. Like, at all. I would do stuff for free. Practically all my music and stuff that I put out, like, I have not really charged anybody for that. Any money I've made off of anything is because people out of the kindness of their hearts feel like it's worth something and they want to pay me. But I pretty much put everything out for free. I feel like that's really important on myself. But you also have to realize your value. You have to realize that you are talented and that you are worth something, and you definitely cannot let, no shade, but those white corporate, executives underpay you. And if they don't offer you a job, or you feel like, you are undervalued, you need to leave. You do have to work your way into the industry, but you also have to feel like you realize what's worth it and what's not. Think about your artistic integrity and personal integrity on your own. You never want to change yourself. You never want to let a location or anybody change you. So it's, that's just like my biggest advice to like a filmmaker, like producer, anybody. Just like, don't ever be afraid to say no, and don't undervalue yourself.
I think that's some great ass advice, because I feel like we, especially as Black, queer, gay, whatever, trans, bi, whatever we identify under that umbrella, undervalue ourselves a lot. Right. We don't really know. We're just really becoming now, this generation and all of us here now are really learning our true value and what we offer, and don't be taking those scraps and scrums and crumbs off the floor that they drop from the table.
Right.
I think that's perfect advice. Now that would lead me to what is next. What do you have in the? I've listened to your single. The single. Yeah. I was gonna put that on here, but I didn't want a copyright strike on that shit.
Girl, they wasn't gonna do nothing. Okay, look. When I put that out, there was so much I planned on doing. Not to cut you off, I'm sorry.
No, go, please.
There was so much I had planned to do with that track, and Amendi, she is absolutely amazing. I mean, if she wasn't watching this, I would just praise her to the heavens, because I had that instrumental for about like 2-3 years. And I was afraid to send it to anybody. And that was what I was talking about. Don't be afraid, because you never know what people are going to say. And I knew it was good, but I'm like, at that point, a lot of people knew me from mashups. Besides SoundCloud. SoundCloud was like, everybody knew me for production. because my stuff be up over there. But on Twitter and stuff, a lot of people just knew me for like mashups. And again, it doesn't take that much effort to do those. It's just you just have to have like an ear for it. So I was worried that people weren't going to really take me that serious. They were going to be like, "Oh, you're just trying to get in production." Like, no, girl, I've been doing this for a long time. Right. But yeah, so I finally got the courage to send it to her. I've been a fan. We've had some mutual friends for a while now, and she wrote that track in literally like 30 minutes and recorded it. Like the vocals that you hear on the actual track are her demo vocals.
What?
And I know. I was like, girl, what? I said, you did not just like no changes to nothing, like no writing changes, nothing. I just was like, okay, we're gonna put this out, like period. Dang. So she definitely is so talented. And
what's the name of that one again? Because
it's called All Right, featuring Amindi.
Please go to Amorphous page. It's the first video. As soon as you go onto his page,
yes, it's
the video that automatically
Spotify,
plays.
Apple Music title. All those
and
places.
see, that's why I ain't fuck with that. Cause see, you got it on all them platforms.
Got it on all them platforms. You know, gotta do it the legit way. Yeah, you don't want to get no copyright strike because they be like, girl, we don't need that.
They will hit me, and I'm already on thin ice with Facebook because
they took my account down a couple years ago because of that. I was like, okay, it was because of the finesse remix thing I did.
They on my ass. They send me warnings constantly.
It's so funny. I mean, you just have to be careful. That's a whole nother conversation.
And now I'm gonna have a lot of creators back for a panel. I'm gonna need you back on that. Talk about shit like that because they gonna monetize off any fucking thing they want and then give us a little crumps of crumbs and shit. So we definitely gonna talk about that. But please, y'all listen to that because if that was her demo vocals. Bitch, first off, I need to know what mic you was using because
screaming. Well, I just want to bring something up real quick, just like not
go
scare you. But do you want to? Okay, so my friend messaged me. She said the live kind of like acted up a bit. Do you want to check it on your end and make sure it's like still?
Is it acting up still? Please message her because I need to know. People have been.
I just want to make sure like you're good.
I'm good. I see you. I ain't heard.
Because she said on Periscope she thinks it ended.
Oh shit! Let me check Periscope, y'all. Give me a sec.
She said it's just the recording, so I just want to make sure like you're good.
Oh shit! It did end on Periscope.
Well, I mean, technology happens. I mean, what can you do?
Don't worry, because let me tell you something. I'm gonna repost the whole video.
Okay. I mean, that's fine with me.
She's on Facebook right now streaming live.
Okay.
She's on Twitter. Well, she was on Periscope and Twitter streaming live, and people watching it now. I mean, look here.
I see. Okay.
And they there, and it's gonna be on YouTube tonight again. If it's not, I don't know if it's streaming live on YouTube because YouTube be giving me shit.
Yes,
I can immediately after give me an hour. This shit will be streaming live on YouTube. Sweet.the podcast, one word, no spaces. It will be there. I promise you. I will send the links and post the links, and he can retweet it and all that. So tell our homegirl, thank her for bringing that to our attention because I did not know that Periscope was acting up.
Right, it's right. Periscope can be like that sometimes.
It can do that, but don't worry. I have this shit. The recording is
it's all good on my. I knew that. I just wanted to make sure you knew so that you weren't just like.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck happened?
So I just wanted to let you know that's like, okay, we're good.
Thank you. I like that.
For sure.
Thank you for telling me that.
For sure. Got to look out for you.
We got to look out for each other.
Yes, we see each other.
We see each other.
Yeah.
We see each other.
For sure.
My God, today. And I thank you more than you can even know for being on here doing this. Absolutely. Now I'm going to give you the screen to say where to follow you, whatever you want to say, anything, and I'm going to give it to you in 2. Oh, this is 2, 2, 1.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in to the interview with me, Amorphous, Jamir Reece Davis. Let me stop tweeting. No, genuinely, it really does mean a lot. I don't really do interviews that often, so I'm very thankful for this opportunity to be on Sweet Dr. Podcast Live. What's next for me? I do have an album coming out. There's no date. I've been saying that for like the past 3 years, but it should be coming out soon. I definitely have some big stuff going on with that behind the scenes, so I'm definitely really glad I took the time to work on that. You can follow me on Twitter at Loneamorphous. That's LONEAMORPHOUS. You can follow me on Instagram at The Official Amorphous. I think you know how to spell The Official. And my YouTube is like Amorphous. You can pretty much just find me anywhere if you search that up, or if you search my actual name, which is Jamir Reece Davis. That's spelled JIMIRREECEDAVIS. And yeah, I'm just like a creative. I just put stuff out, and just I like to go with the flow and see what happens in terms of my career. Stay safe, wear your masks. We got to get this pandemic stuff under control. And to all of my Black gay family, like just keep sane and keep safe and be yourself.
I couldn't think you said anything better.
That
like Cruella de Vil up here
screaming. That's my favorite Disney villain.
That bitch wardrobe was sickening.
Sickening. Okay, she was looking cute every single time. I was like, I don't all them dogs. That was so sad. But I was like, at least her fashion was on point.
Kill all the dogs, but
she had to kill all the dogs, but she was gonna kill them dogs. Her fashion better be on point. Period.
Y'all heard what he said. Wear your goddamn mask, you fucks.
Literally, especially down here in Florida. I mean, it's crazy.
We not gonna get on Florida, and I don't even want to bring up the COVID because some people I guess I have on don't want to talk about shit political. They don't want to have to talk shit about anything that's what's going on. But I'm just gonna say it's the pandemic.
It's the pandemic. I'm still here. I just hope next year she's not like I'm still here because I'm gonna be like I'm still here. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, it's got to get the dance moves and everything. Okay.
I'm just gonna say her mic was on.
It needed to be off, but okay.
It did because we didn't need to hear all them huffs and breathing.
Girl. Love to the sis, though. Love to the sis.
I love Tisha Campbell, and that is no shade. She is an icon in the culture.
Shade. Absolutely.
She is here, and she is not queer. But again, Amorphous, Jamir Reece Davis, know that filmmaker name because when you do films, you got to give your government. They want all of the things.
Yes.
And I thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna play the outro, and you don't disconnect yet. Just give me a minute.
I got you.
But here we go. The flavor profile of this team. Sweet. And y'all already know where to follow Sweet the Podcast. If you don't, Sweet the Podcast on YouTube. One word, no spaces. Sweet the Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can follow me at Will.the3rd on Instagram and Will_the3rd on Twitter. And with